God bless football, Billy Gill.
God bless football, Mikey, eh?
God bless football, Fuentes. I chose wrong.
He waved you off. It's okay. Guys.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a big weekend, guys.
Better that way, some are saying anyways.
Some are saying, yes.
What?
Who said that? Big weekend, Billy. Big weekend. It's championship weekend, Billy.
Big weekend.
It is championship weekend. Stugotz, I have big news for you.
What?
God bless football is presented by Smirnoff. We do game days.
Yes.
Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York.
Yep. Billy, are you excited for championship weekend?
I am excited for championship weekend, even though it seems like now that we have the CFP rankings out, it seems like we kind of know who's in already, right? Like, regardless of how these games play out, there's not going to be a ton of surprises, we don't think, but maybe there will be.
Maybe. I think the one thing that people are looking out for is Clemson. Can Clemson somehow, because Clemson seemed dead at the beginning of the season, and now Clemson is a win away from making it to the college football playoff.
Yeah. I think I'm getting old because I'm at like the age where I'm like, it feels like Clemson should be in, right? But like also Clemson historically feels like they shouldn't be in, but now it feels like, oh, Clemson not making the playoffs feels weird just because like that's the age that I'm in and we're coming out of this like Clemson reign where like they're good enough. You think they're like top 12 good, but like they're really not.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's a fun episode coming up here. Kyle McCord is going to join us. We're going to have Golic as well. We're going to have Chris Sims. Whatever you don't see from Chris Sims, you can get on the podcast. But Billy, we have a watch party coming up this Sunday. Mikey A is coming down to South Florida. This is a big
coming down to Florida.
Yeah.
That is true, guys. If you're listening to this, by the way, you can also check out our Thursday Night Football reaction exclusively on the podcast. If you want, come hang out with us down at Dolphin Mall at Vivo on Sunday. We're going to be watching Jets and Dolphins. Get there, we're going to say 1 to 5-ish. Get there a little bit early if you can because it is a shopping mall and it is holiday time, so parking might be a little bit dicey. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be me, Stugotz, Mike, you'll be there. There will be some people from the show there. I believe that we have a toy drive going on as well. If you want to bring a toy, we can kind of then donate that to the appropriate places. So come hang out with us. Presented by Smirnoff. Also presented by Smirnoff, our weekly fantasy contest.
Oh, there
you
it
go to
is.
dkng.co/Smirnoff. Compete against us in weekly fantasy. And also, here's the rare bonus that's only happened twice this year.
Wow.
You can see our live reactions to how our fantasy teams are doing while we're on stage at Dolphin Mall. So good plays are happening. Might look a little excited when nothing is happening in the Jets and Dolphins game. You'll know, hey, Billy just made a right move in fantasy. Bad things are happening, which has been the case more likely than not this year for me in the fantasy contest. You'll see me in my misery. Also, if the Jets beat the Dolphins, I will be especially miserable. So if you want to see a miserable Billy, come out to Dolphin Mall on Sunday and check it out.
If that plays out, me and Mikey will be miserable. I don't want the Jets to win.
Yeah, I don't want
really.
The Jets to win that game.
Wow, the rare
I'm going to be miserable either way. I'm going to be miserable either way.
Are you really?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, it's 75 degrees and a cloud in the sky. I mean,
Well,
Mikey, before we get to Kyle McCord, the quarterback at Syracuse, the leading passer in the country, how do you feel about coming down here right before the holidays and spending a Sunday at a mall with me and Billy?
Couldn't have drawn it up any better.
It's a good mall. It's a fun mall.
It's a great
you have
mall.
holiday shopping to do. Come check out the mall.
Yeah,
it's a nice mall.
It is.
Will you walk around with me? Will you
Sure, I'll take you around the mall. I used to work there.
A pretzel?
I'll show you the ins and outs. To go to Wetzel's or Wetzel's. Is there an end in Wetzel's pretzels? I think it's just Wetzel's, right?
Wetzel's.
We'll find out.
Orange Julius.
Oh, I love an Orange Julius.
Oh, man, Orange Julius.
So
no.
good.
Thought you said it was a good mall.
Oh, come on. Give it a shot. Take you to the Bass Pro Shop over there.
Yes.
Ooh, I do love a good Bass Pro.
Buy some lures.
Yeah. Is that what you buy there, Billy?
Some flies.
But I buy there, Anyway, should we talk to Kyle McCord not about pretzels and lures?
Big fisherman, are you?
Yeah. I'm a man of the sea.
It calls to you.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time you've been out on a boat?
Are cruise ships out of the equation?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Have you ever
Damn,
fished?
I thought I found a loophole.
Have you ever gone fishing?
I don't know how to swim.
Kyle McCord next. You sprung a big upset against the Canes on Saturday. And I'm wondering, where did Saturday rank for you in terms of career highlights?
I think that's got to be right at the top.
Really?
Yeah, it's got to be right at the top. I mean, to go and end the regular season beating a top 5 or top 10 team at home, I think they're number 6 when we beat them. It's pretty sweet. And I think just putting Syracuse back on the map, like that's, exactly what, we wanted to do. And I think that game just kind of exemplified everything that we've been working for this offseason.
Did your coach take a shower after the game?
Yeah, I think right after the game he got washed, put the winners get washed shirt on too. So yeah, it was a good day.
Does he actually do that if he won't shower after a loss? Like he'll go multiple weeks if he has to without taking a shower?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. He told me it was right after our first loss of the season in September. And he told me that like a few days after the game, he was like, I don't know. He's like, I just get mad. And it's like, I don't deserve to take a shower. Like, and I was like, Coach, it's kind of nasty. Like I wouldn't tell anybody that. And when he came out and said that, I was like, as soon as I saw the clip, I knew it was going to blow up.
Were you surprised that Miami didn't go for it on that 4th down late in the game?
I don't know. I mean, I see both sides of it. I mean, you have one play at the 10-yard line. But, I think hindsight, obviously, they probably wish they would have gone for it. But, if they were to stop us and get the ball back and score, then it looks like a great decision. But, yeah, I think, in the moment, I thought they were going to try to go for it. And then, if they didn't get it, obviously, we'd have the ball kind of backed up there on the 10.
So this is interesting. I'm wondering, when you went into the portal, did Miami express any sort of interest in you?
Not until late, because I remember Cam posted that video saying that he was going to go to the draft. And then they hit me up. It was kind of late in the process because they were all in on him from the start. But I was already signed to Syracuse, so it was just a quick conversation. That was it.
Was that something you used as like any sort of motivation? I know athletes are always looking for some sort of motivation, a chip on their shoulder. The fact that the Canes weren't interested in you, was that any sort of motivation? And you had Ohio State losing. It was a hell of a day for you, Kyle. It really was. But was that any sort of motivation for you in the week leading up to the Miami game?
I wouldn't say just Miami in general. I thought, when I got in the portal, you would hear from, all the big schools that needed a quarterback, and that wasn't the case. And then, it was really only a handful of schools that were serious about me going there. And so I used that as motivation, but I wouldn't say it was Miami in specific, because obviously they made a great decision out of the portal too. So, I think it was just a combination of, a lack of schools that I thought would hit me up that didn't.
All right, try not to give me the politically correct answer to this, okay? Because it's okay. You're a human being, Kyle. Was there any part of you that felt good as you realized, because Ryan Day told you, hey, I can't guarantee you a starting spot. So you took your game to Syracuse. You had a great season. You're the leading passer in college football. Was there any part of you that took, I don't know, that you were kind of happy that Ohio State lost to Michigan?
I mean, I think there's obviously that, like I was just talking about, just sense of motivation after the way everything ended last year. Felt like I had unfinished business there and didn't get a chance to go back and kind of right some of my wrongs. So definitely use that as motivation. And, and they lost me. And I said in the post-game interview, everything comes full circle. And, I think that Saturday just kind of exemplified all of that. Obviously a big win for us. And then, I think everybody, I know Coach France said it the other day, like everybody was trying to make it seem like I was, the problem there. And, I think, you see the results, and I don't think you can say that now. So I just think a combination of all that, and on top of that, just the extra source of motivation.
Kyle, how different is the portal experience to being recruited out of high school?
It's like recruiting on steroids, because especially for a quarterback, high school, you have, 2 years to get recruited, and, you have to make a decision by your senior year. But when you're in the portal, it's, you got a week and a half, 2 weeks to make a decision. And so everything is sped up. I've known guys who have committed to places they've never even been, and that, necessarily never happens in high school. So it's just everything is sped up, and especially for a quarterback, you almost have to reserve your spot because most schools are only taking one. So it was wild. It was a wild time, but, obviously glad everything worked out, me ending up here.
I read that you had committed to Ohio State in your sophomore year of high school. Do you think that's too early to be making such a big decision? Or at this point with the portal, is it like, if I don't like it, I could just change?
Yeah, for a quarterback, I think, when a school gives you a green light to commit, it's obviously, an enticing opportunity. And especially at a school like Ohio State, when they told me they wanted me to commit and help build the class, I think that is important. But at the same time, I think you can't rush it. And to me, I don't feel like I rushed the process. I got recruited early out of high school. And to be honest, that, when I was a sophomore, I was, kind of done with it, like going on visits and talking to schools and all that. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger. But I think you just, everybody's timeline is different. And you just have to take your time and make sure that you're not rushing into a decision, and for some people that's committing sophomore year. And then for others, that's, committing the last day, senior year on signing day.
I know you were busy kicking Miami's ass, but I am wondering here, what'd you make of what happened after the Ohio State-Michigan game?
And being in it for 3 years, there's a general or a genuine level of hate between both teams. And, obviously, the emotions are high in that game. But, I think, when you lose, every year that I was there, you had to deal with it. Like they would rush the field when we lost at Michigan. And then my sophomore year when they beat us at home, they did the same thing, plant the flag. And, it's tough. But I think at the end of the day, if you really want to make a difference on it, you got to do it in between the white lines. And, I think that, obviously guys are prideful and, I get that part of it. But, I see both sides. But that's just I think that's a perfect kind of image of how much those teams hate each other regardless of the records and all that.
Kyle, it's interesting because I think one of the positive things with all the rule changes in college football is the fact that a quarterback like yourself who goes to Ohio State and would probably rule out Syracuse as an option. Now, after a couple of years at Ohio State, you can go to a school like Syracuse. There are more quarterbacks at more schools that don't traditionally have great quarterbacks, and I think that's a good thing. Syracuse hasn't had a great quarterback since like the late 90s, and you broke every record. And so I think that's one of the positives of all the new rule changes. Do you agree that you have more teams that have a better shot because they have better quarterbacks and quarterbacks they wouldn't normally get through recruiting?
100%. I think that, it's kind of becoming a little bit of a trend. I think, all the top high school guys are going to go to the big schools, and some of them are going to play there, and then some of them aren't. And then when those guys go to transfer, they go to, a smaller school or, not necessarily a blue chip program, and they're able to compete. And I think that's exactly what happened here. I mean, there's a lot of great talent around me. And Coach France said it. He was like, we're a quarterback away from being a serious contender. And I think obviously, that's true. And just like you said, looking across college football, I think at the quarterback position and then really at every position, the talent level is a lot more spread out. Yeah. Because of NIL, because of the transfer portal. So in result, the playing field is a lot more even. And that's why I think there's not been, that group of dominant teams like there always are, across the top of college football.
So you're coming off one of your biggest wins. You eliminated Miami from the playoffs, essentially. A team that maybe slighted you, maybe didn't slight you. Now, when do you focus on the draft? Like, because you have a bowl game coming up. Is that something that you focus on after the bowl game? Or like, not to put you in a difficult spot, but do you say, you know what, maybe the bowl game isn't the right decision. Let me focus on the draft to not risk injury, anything like that. Where's your head at with all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I already got it all set up to where I'll start all that draft prep after the bowl game, the beginning of January. So I'll be with the team all the way through the bowl game. I haven't quite made a decision. I know a lot of guys are still on the fence, got to see where we play and all that. But I think, obviously it's, a lifelong dream to, get ready for the NFL draft, but, it's a grind. So I'm just trying to enjoy my last month in college, my last few weeks with the guys, and then, move on and get ready for that.
Kyle, try to extend it as much as you can. I'm telling you. See if we can find an extra year in there somewhere, a COVID year, a redshirt year, something. Extend college as long as you can. Yes, you could be a first-round draft pick, but also that can wait a year. You're not going to get college back. You do not want to get out of college because that's when the real world starts. Yeah,
I know. I mean, I've definitely tried to enjoy every moment this year. I mean, it's flew by, but it's been a lot of fun here. So. Trust me, if I could, I would. So, yeah, we'll see.
How
see
many?
how it all shakes out.
I have a daughter who goes to Syracuse. I've been there many times. How many trips a week for you, Kyle, to Varsity Pizza? How many trips?
I might get killed for this. I've actually never been there.
What?
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've never been there.
Someone's going to kill you now.
That might have to be on the bucket list before I leave here.
Wait, Kyle, it's right in the middle of campus. How have you never been there before?
Hold on a second, Kyle. Is this like I'm a top athlete? I can't put that in my body. Is this like one of those situations?
no.
I can't drink soda. I can't.
The man
have
has his own
pizza.
potato chip.
Billy, I've seen football team. I've seen players from the team in Varsity
Well,
Pizza. I mean,
linemen probably.
Yeah, linemen, definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I definitely need to. That's the place where they flip the flags upside down after?
Yes.
Oh, both,
Yeah.
Kyle.
I'll definitely need to make a stop in there before I leave.
Right, Kyle, get out and see Syracuse. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's cold out there.
It's lovely this time of year.
The only problem is now, like, the sun doesn't come up at all.
I know.
Last time the sun was up like a week ago, we won't see it again until like March. So
It's crazy. I know you have a
it's
weekly
not
radio show up there, right? Is like radio, is media something you'd want to get into maybe after you're done playing football?
Don't do it,
Yeah.
Kyle.
Careful, Kyle.
I don't know. I mean,
Don't do it, Kyle.
Wait, no,
I've
Billy,
met a
I'm
lot
trying to
of
position him
great
as a college
people.
football playoff correspondent for God Bless Football. That's what I'm trying
Okay,
to
yeah,
I know
yeah,
exactly what you're doing.
All right.
yeah, no, I've met a lot of great people that are in the media business. Obviously, Newhouse here is huge, and so I've met a lot of great people like Mike Tirico and people along that line of work. So I don't know. It's been something that I enjoy. I like talking about football. So we'll see where it takes me.
Do you have some hot takes for us, like NFL, college football hot takes for us? Like, are you an Eagles fan?
No, I'm a Jets fan, unfortunately.
Ah,
no.
yes. What do you
Oh,
think?
no.
The guy
Oh,
with
no.
the Michigan hat
Kyle,
is a
you're
Jet
amongst
fan?
two other Jets fans.
I started to get into it when I was young, like kindergarten, first grade, and that's when they had Mark Sanchez. That's
Right.
why I wear number 6 because of him.
Oh, brother.
Went to
Wow.
back-to-back AFC championships. So
Attaboy.
I thought, this is a great decision being a Jets fan, and then it was just all downhill from there.
Well, I have good news for you, Kyle. They may be looking for a quarterback in the draft, so dreams might come true here.
We'll see. That would be cool.
Might
That'd
be.
cool. But yeah, I mean, I thought when they got Rodgers, it was going to be.
Yeah, we all did.
The
We all
revival.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been
We all
tough.
did.
Yeah, but now even we can ruin Aaron Rodgers, right? I mean, now you know.
Oh man, yeah, no, it's been a rough go of it.
Any hot takes on the college football playoff? I want to ask you to pick the games this weekend, because I feel like you're a guy that likes to give hot takes and opinions on football. I mean,
I don't know. It's tough. I don't know if the conference championship winner should get an automatic bid. I think that it's tough because you have for example, Miami team who has a better record than Clemson, but then Clemson makes it. I mean, I think there's still a lot of problems with the playoff. In my honest opinion, I think they should do like the FCS does, that kind of playoff format. I think that's more football. I don't ever hear anybody complaining that they got robbed of a FCS playoff spot. And I know that's always good football too. I know a lot of those games are just like the NFL where it's at the higher seeds stadium, and they're great environments. So I think that'd be cool to see, but obviously that would probably be years out in advance.
Kyle, do you think it's fair that Ryan Day is basically judged on one game per year, not on the body of work, just one game per year?
I mean, that's how it is there.
Really?
I remember when I first got there, like some of the fans were saying to me, it doesn't matter if we lose every single game. If we beat Michigan, it's a solid year. And, that's like a crazy thing to say, but, it's true up there. And I think obviously Michigan's a good team, and I think this is kind of the best stretch they've had in a long time. But, I think that's, just part of the job responsibility to beat them.
What brought you to Syracuse? Was it Fran Brown?
Yeah, it was the coaches, and then it was the talent around me. Obviously, I've known Coach Fran for a while, and known Coach Nuns, the quarterback coach, for a while. I've known Coach Nixon, the OC, for a while, back in high school and middle school, and so felt really comfortable with the coaches. And then just looking at the players around me, guys like Arande who were coming back, and Trevor, and then guys like Jackson Meeks who were transferring in. And so just looked at the whole situation, just was something that I felt like I could walk in and have success right away.
Did he do the, don't shower after losses thing when you knew him when you were a kid, or is this something that's new to you?
It's new to me. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him. But I hope not, because that would be rough when he was at like Rutgers and Temple when they were bad. I mean, that would be
10 weeks without a shower. I mean,
yeah, no, I mean, you'd go like the whole month of November without a shower. That'd be bad.
What are you laughing at, Billy? I mean, those... like, has anyone ever gone up to him like during the season and be like, "Coach, come on, hop in the shower, let's go. You smell."
Well, no, they just come back and they're like, "We got to win this week because Fran smells like shit."
That's the motivation. Is that?
I mean, he said he'll like after we lose a game, like he'll show up to practice like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday wearing the same clothes.
Oh wait, hold on a second. You didn't change clothes either?
I mean, because you don't know if he like put it on the loop and got it washed, and then like he just happens to be in the same outfit, or he has been wearing that for 72 hours. So I keep my distance.
Is Fran a crazy person?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Crazy. Yeah, he's crazy. Yeah,
you just cut right to it there, Kyle. Just crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, he'll admit it too, but it's a good type of crazy. It's a good type of crazy.
It's a contagious type of crazy, right?
Yeah. I mean, all the guys love playing for him. I mean, he's the ultimate players coach, but no, he's wild.
Did you surprise yourself at all this season with the season that you had? You were the leading passer in college football.
I mean, obviously, you don't know like how the statistics are going to go because coming into the season, obviously, new OC, new place for me to play, and you don't know you're going to be throwing the ball that much. But I felt confident I was going to have a really good year.
Right.
Did I know I was going to have as good as a year as I did? I don't know. But probably after like week 2 or week 3, once we were throwing the ball, like every other play, it felt like, sometimes every play, I knew that statistically I'd have a good year and, just wanted to make sure I was playing good, consistent football.
2 quick ones. We'll get you out of here. We do appreciate the time and congratulations on an amazing season. The loss that hurts the most when you look back on the season, because Kyle, if you have one less loss, you have a legitimate chance of getting to the college football playoff. I'm guessing it's that Stanford game. I was at that game with my daughter. What's the game you look back on and say, man, how'd we lose that one?
Yeah, I mean, Stanford was tough. I felt like, we are the better team, and I think the season showed that. But, on that day, they outplayed us. Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I mean, we had them, late, but it shouldn't even come down to that. So that was tough. And then obviously to see them go like 3-9 wasn't fun. That one hurt. And then the Pitt game sucked for a different reason. I mean, we didn't deserve to win that game at all. I got my ass kicked that game. So that wasn't fun. But probably the Stanford game, like if you could have one game and go back and change it, that would be the one.
Billy, you're going to love this because it's my understanding that Kyle has a flavored potato chip. Is that accurate, Kyle? You do, don't you? You have a flavored potato chip, don't you? Yeah.
What's the flavor? What does Kyle taste like?
Wow, Billy. Wow.
Oh, man. It's like a sharp cheddar honey barbecue.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. It's legit.
It is. How'd that come? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I'm with a marketing team called Excel, and so they always bring the cool deals. And they hit me up about a potato chip. Want to do a deal, and I told them even if it was for free, I would do it. It was just pretty cool.
Bad negotiation, Kyle. Don't say that moving forward.
I mean, listen,
don't do that again.
Yeah, I got.
Don't say that to the Jets. I mean,
it was definitely the coolest NIL deal that I've ever done. Like walking through the store and like looking through the chip aisle and seeing your face on the bag. You don't get used to that. So it is pretty cool.
That is cool. Billy's right. Stay in college, man. You got a flavored chip. You got a radio show.
Stay away from the Jets. It's everything you need is in college.
Pizza. I mean, you got a lot of things to do before you get out of there, man.
You have pizza to try. You haven't tried pizza yet.
I know. That's probably number 1 right now on the priority list.
All right, man. Well, congratulations on beating Miami. Congratulations on a great season, and good luck to you moving forward. We appreciate the time, man. We really do.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, man. College football
Kyle.
Correspondent, what do you think? Yes?
Let's do it.
Oh,
Let's
yes.
Let's
yeah,
do it.
all right. Well, you have to be on every week, okay?
Oh,
And like that chip
You
deal,
want a contract.
and like the chip deal, we can't pay you.
He learned, Stugotz. He said, we'll work out a contract. He
Yep,
learned.
attaboy.
All right, my people will get in touch with your people, okay?
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys.
All right, buddy. Congratulations. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Mike. Oh, big day. Did they tell you yet?
No.
No?
If they told me, I wouldn't come on.
'Tis the season, Mike Golic.
Yeah.
We have for you our first of two BCS rankings on the year.
You know, Billy, he makes that sound, yet I think there's been a couple of times on the show throughout this season where Mike has said we should just go back to the BCS. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
And we're back.
And he meant this one.
right.
He meant this one.
Well, yeah. Okay. To make you guys feel good, yes, I meant yours.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, so Billy is going to walk you through this here. So Billy, walk us through the latest BCS.
Oh, boy.
The first BCS. I have a few legitimate questions for Golic afterwards, but let's go through the BCS first here.
So we're jumping right into this. Wow, Mike. Okay. It is a big season in the BCS, as everybody knows. It's the Billy C for Michael and Mikey C and Stugotz rankings, the BCS. And we had changes this year in the playoffs, in both the college football playoffs and also the BCS. The college football playoffs have expanded, as everybody knows, to 12 teams. The BCS did expansion first, where the BCS the past couple seasons has been 6 teams.
Right? Yeah.
Now, big changes with the expansion of the CFP. The BCS said, you know what? Let's take a look at this. And a look at it we did take, and we made a change too. We contracted. Our playoff this year is 3 teams.
Yep.
3.
Yes.
3.
Yep.
3 teams.
3.
Number 1 seed gets a bye to the championship.
Well, to be determined who gets the bye, but 3 teams right now at the moment. Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
We might give it
okay.
to the number 3 team. We don't know
Th-
yet.
Yeah.
And Mike.
This is so you have the 3 teams, but you don't have them ranked yet.
Well, no.
We have an initial
Ranked.
rank.
We don't
Yeah.
have it
What
ranked.
is this? Amateur
Yes.
hour?
Thank you, Mikey. Mikey gets it. No.
Oh, then
Golic,
the number
no.
one. Then the number 1 team gets the bye.
Well, to be determined.
Yeah.
Well, look, this is not the final BCS rankings
Yeah,
yet. This
yes,
is the
yes.
penultimate, both initial and penultimate BCS rankings
And-
on the season.
and my
headed
apologies,
into
I got
championship weekend.
I got carried away, Billy. My apologies. You're right. We have
Yeah.
not established who the 1 seed is with the
Don't
bye.
tip our
Right,
hand.
Right. You're
Yeah.
right. I'm sorry about that.
I like the initial and penultimate all in
Yes.
one. That
Yeah.
is impressive.
We're efficient. We don't want to
Yeah.
dilly-dally. You know, some of these ranking systems go out there and they'll just throw teams against the wall and see what sticks, knowing we're just going to move around, up, down, all around as the season goes on. Not us, no. We take this serious. This is serious business.
You
Take
guys,
a look at the advanced metrics.
you guys have cut the fat.
Yeah.
Is what you have
Trim
done.
the fat out of
We
this.
got
Yeah.
right
I'm
to
still
it.
here.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
So as it always goes, Mike, we have our 3 teams that are in right now, and then we have an OLI and an OOLI, so that you know who's still in the mix headed into championship weekend.
Okay.
All right,
All right.
Mikey, you want to kick us off with the first team?
With number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Number
we
1.
start as always
Yes.
with number 1.
Number
Mike.
1 for now. Yes.
Number 1 for now. And Mike, I don't think you'll disagree here. Number 1, Oregon. The Ducks, 12-0 out of the Big Ten. But what you might not know is why they're number 1. They are number 1 because they lead the country in TOTTHLYETYKIC. The only team that hasn't lost yet, even though you know it's coming.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. You agree with
I
that?
actually agree with that.
You know it. You know it. You know
You
it.
know it's
Yeah.
coming.
All right, you guys are 1 for 1 with me.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Number 2, Mike, out of the SEC. This is the BCS's second ranked team here. Again, out of the SEC, which is weird, but it is Texas. The Longhorns are 11-1, and they lead the country, Mike, in a very important metric. That metric is A. Arch.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But Arch
Yeah.
doesn't play.
Yeah,
But they
well,
lead
sure
the country
does.
in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they lead the country
and
in-
they're the only one.
yeah.
if you need him, he's there, Mike.
Yep.
Are you saying
So-
Texas shouldn't be number 2?
Is that
So
what you're
Texas
saying?
is number 2 because of Arch.
Because
Or are you
of
saying they
Arch,
shouldn't
yes.
be number 2?
No, because they
No.
lead the country in Arch.
They lead the
Wait,
country in A.
should they not be number
Arch.
2?
Yes.
I don't
No,
understand.
they should be number 2.
Okay,
Right.
then
I'm
what's
just
the
not-
gripe here?
I'm
Right.
just not sure of the reasoning.
Well, because if they're
Arch.
if their starting quarterback goes down, they have A. Arch.
I don't understand. So we give a transparency that the CFP committee doesn't, and we give you our reasons, and our reasons aren't good enough, even though the team is there, and you are admitting that it's the right team.
But
to be.
they're 11-1, not because of Arch.
Wow.
Yet
He's got some of them in there.
I mean,
some of that 11 is A.
So 18% of it is Arch.
Well,
Is there another team that has more Arch?
right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a team with 18% of their wins because of Arch?
A can also
No.
stand for ace in a pocket. You know, they have the ace in the pocket, Mike. You know, they have Arch in case Ewers goes down. I mean,
Let's not get bogged down. I think
Right.
we all agree so far.
I think, yeah.
We're right.
Oregon,
Yeah.
Texas,
I agree with
great
Texas
list.
too.
all right.
All right.
All right, Billy, number 3, please.
I
Texas.
fear.
How do you
I
feel
fear.
about Texas toast? You just said Texas too. Reminded me of
Ooh, I
Texas
love
toast.
Texas.
I'm a
Oh, I
fan.
love Texas toast.
Oh, same.
Wow.
This is so
I love
good. Who
Texas.
doesn't love Texas toast? I mean,
Oh, wow.
All right, Mike. Number 3 in the country out of the Big Ten,
yeah.
the Indiana Hoosiers.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Congrats to the Hoosiers. Now,
Hoosiers.
remember, this is not the final rankings. This is the penultimate rankings. And
Right.
While Indiana doesn't play, there might be a shakeup here or there. You never know. But at the moment, Indiana leads the country in IAYOTTDWIWBTTHWIONTTWATHARIPAT.
Big stat.
Yep.
In a year of trying to determine who is
Oh.
who better than the Hoosiers? Who is our number 3 team? Who are the Hoosiers? Alex, rest in peace, Alex Trebek.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Never forget.
Big category.
You like it, Mike? What do you think? Indiana.
You guys never cease to amaze me.
What do you mean?
I have no idea what that reasoning is.
Well-
Zero clue.
Who's who? The Hoosiers.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's
Gotta look it up.
who? The Hoosiers.
Right.
Yeah, the
And-
God bless football,
Hoosiers.
Mike.
Yeah,
Gotta
you
be on
space it
top
out
of
a little.
Yes.
So it rolls out the who's who? The Hoosiers.
Hoosiers.
Yeah, you space it out.
Hoosiers.
Right.
Rest in peace, Alex Trebek.
Of course.
So you're basing everything out of a rhyme and Alex
No.
Trebek.
Well, just the 3.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
just the
basing it on
3.
stat.
Yeah.
Let's move on to 4. We're getting bogged down.
This is the
Else you got?
OLI, Mike. Number 4 is
First OLI team, Mike, as Stugotz just said. I'm
Yes.
not sure if you caught it.
So this team still,
Outside looking in.
they have a
Right.
chance to get in though still because they have a game to play. So our number 4 team, according to the BCS, Mike, Army, the Black Knights, 10-1 out of the American, the most important conference, and of course they lead the country in TYFYS. Thank you for your service.
Yeah. Listen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very, very rarely can I argue when you put the military in, and they do have a game against Tulane.
Yeah.
So they do have a chance to move up.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. You'll never get an argument for me out of the armed services, even though
Unless
they
they're
shouldn't
playing
be
Notre
that-
Dame.
Right.
They shouldn't be that high. Yeah, unless it's Notre
They
Dame. But
shouldn't
I
be
know
that
you guys
high.
won't have Notre
They
Dame.
shouldn't be that high. He couldn't resist himself. I mean,
Yeah. Jeez, Mike.
They shouldn't.
we're sorry.
You
Mike.
know, but I respect them.
All right,
Should we
number
get to our
5.
second OLI?
Yes,
Yeah.
number 5. Go ahead, Mikey A.
Out of the SEC,
Oh,
Alabama.
Oh God!
Yes.
You guys couldn't resist.
Crimson Tide,
Couldn't
9-3. Well, Mike, when a team is so good in YCH, APW, TW, TYRNT, ANFP, CTGINW, you got to put them in. You got
How
to put
can
them
you-
at least close in.
right.
How can you
And of
argue
course-
it?
Yeah, I mean, that means you can't have a playoff without them. And we're telling you right now, there's a 95% chance they're going in next week. And that's all because they, of course, are big in NSMAC. Nick Saban made a call.
He did. Yep.
Ah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, Alabama is always the magnet, aren't they? They are
are.
always the focal point.
Yes.
So I understand that, though they have no game to play either. Indiana has no game to play.
Yeah, but they have Nick
Well, they're
Saban
out
making
right
calls.
now,
Doesn't matter. You
They're
can't have
out
a
at the
playoff without
moment.
them.
Yeah, they're out.
They're- right now they're out of it.
Well,
Right.
right now you are going to have a playoff without them because
But there is that
looking at it-
95% chance there.
Yes. Yes. We'll see how many calls Saban makes this week. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we'll get back
So
to you.
what-
6-1.
What in fact would put Indiana in? Would that be obviously Oregon or Texas losing?
Well, let's finish seeing the rankings first, Mike, and then maybe it'll make more sense. You'll see how things will play out.
I thought we were done.
Well,
No.
We have
Now it's the
there.
outside
OOLIs.
looking in. Yeah,
Yes,
the
yes.
OOLIs.
We're almost there.
One
Mike.
more level out.
Just 10 teams to go. Go ahead, Mikey. Who's up next here? Billy, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, number 6, Mike. 10-2 out of the SEC, the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, this was a good
Now,
one.
they were a favorite headed into the season. Impressive the past couple of seasons. People said, you know what, this is the biggest team in the country. No one can fight them. Unfortunately, Mike, BLTOMSKTOBAQLTAKTA. Bad loss to Ole Miss should keep them out, but a quality loss to Alabama keeps them alive.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let me
Big
ask
quality
you.
loss.
Yep. Please.
They're sitting at 6, and you take the top 3. If Georgia were to beat Texas in the SEC championship game,
We'll see.
would Georgia be in?
We'll see.
You have to see how it shakes out.
We'll see.
TWT, Mike, time will tell.
I'm telling you how it shakes out. Georgia beats Texas.
Right.
Is Georgia in?
Well,
since
okay.
Indiana's not playing.
Well, it depends who else wins and loses.
You're playing
yeah.
what if, and that's
Right.
my game.
That's a
so.
different game.
Yeah.
Don't look now, another game, too.
It's a fair question. We'll get back to you on it, though. We will.
And there's still, there's the Oregon of it, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 7, Mike, Penn State. The Nittany Lions, 11-1 out of the Big Ten. They lead the country in a very important metric, PDWOTWKHTME. Please don't waste our time. We know how this movie ends.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
I won't even bring up the point of if Penn State beats Oregon, would Penn State be in? Because they're not going to beat Oregon.
Yeah.
Not how the movie
now
ends.
you're onto it, Mike. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go.
I
to
hope
number-
you guys have. I hope you guys have more teams because you have not mentioned the Fighting Irish yet.
Well, hold on a
Well,
second.
give us a
Whoa,
chance. I mean,
Just the top
We're up to
7.
number 8.
Jeez.
Yeah, number 8.
Let's get to 8 first.
Wow.
Mikey A, go ahead.
I think you're going to like this
And,
number 8, Mike.
I mean, it's a big one for you. Number 8, Ohio State, the
Okay.
Buckeyes, 10-2 out of the Big Ten. Mike, we thought about Notre Dame here, but they just didn't have enough LHB, YCL, TPTF. Losses happen, but you can't let them plant the flag.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
A lot of flag planting went on rivalry weekend.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah,
of fights.
it was
a lot
weird.
of fights.
All right. Well, perhaps we'll get to Notre Dame here. Our number 9. Well, perhaps we'll get to them in the final 2 teams. We'll see. The number
see.
9 team, Mike. Number 9 team, according to the BCS, Northern Illinois.
Wow.
The Huskies, 7-5 out of the MAC. They lead the nation in OWOND. Only win over Notre Dame, which is the most important category in the BCS.
Wow.
Yep. We weigh it heavily.
It's a bad
Yeah, I
luck.
can't go with that.
Oh, yeah.
Win
I-
over
I-
Notre Dame.
I
I
mean,
can't
head to head. I mean,
I can't be party to this.
Wow.
Did you
this
ever?
is
Did you even look
atrocity.
at their win over Notre Dame?
Yeah,
Oh,
did
I
you
was
see it?
there. I watched every second.
Okay,
of it.
great. Then you know.
you agree they won,
We'll send
right?
you a
I mean,
stat pack.
Yeah.
They won, but then they've lost 5 games.
Yeah, but WOND, win over Notre Dame. It's a big
Yeah.
one.
only team to do it. Let's get to
All
number.
right.
Started to get a hammy.
Yeah.
All right, well, here we go. Number 10, and this is the final. We're not going to waste your time with 25 teams like the CFP does because, 25 teams aren't actually in the mix, but there are 10 teams in the mix. The final team of the outside looking in. Number 10, 11-1 out of nowhere. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Wow. They're in, kind of.
They're in, Mike. At the
Yeah,
moment, they're on the outside.
OLI.
They're
Well, they're
definitely
not in.
the mix. Well, they're in the mix. They're in the mix. Why, you ask? Because of JETLWTSGDKU. Just ending the list with them so Golic doesn't kill us. Also, here's a big reason. Here's a big reason
He might kill
why.
us anyway, Billy. I mean,
Here's a reason why, Mike, and this is not disputable or debatable in any way. They fell all the way to number 10 because great record. So they are deserving to be in the top 10. Now, here's why they're at 10. THTAS. They hate the armed services.
Yeah.
Why? Because they beat them?
I mean, yeah.
They respect them.
Wow.
So what you're saying is they should throw the game to the armed service.
They'd be
Correct.
in.
It would help their ranking.
Yes.
Notre Dame would be higher if they had more losses to armed service teams.
They would get the bye week right to the national championship.
Possibly.
I mean, yes.
It's still in the mix.
I don't know why I agree to come on with you guys. I really don't. Really don't.
Is it because of LU? You love us?
Huh?
Probably.
Oh,
Probably.
that's so nice. We love you too, Mike.
It is funny, Billy, on Twitter when people talk about this show, they're like, why is Golic so mean to Billy all the
Why
time?
are you? Yeah. Hurts my feelings.
They're like,
I mean, I get it.
furious.
I get it.
There's a pattern going on here. They say the same about Sims too. I mean,
Could it be me?
Just so I have this straight, you've given me 10 teams,
yeah.
of which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 don't even have another game.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, they may not move very much.
Right. Yeah.
Yet Indiana, which doesn't have a game, is in your top
For
3.
now.
At the moment.
Yes.
For now. Yeah.
Right.
This is penultimate, remember. There's
Right.
still the ultimate next
There are
week.
things you could do, Mike, like be nicer to the military, and perhaps you'll get in. I mean,
If I were to
Certainly
say,
rank.
Texas
Yeah.
beat Georgia
right?
Yeah.
and Oregon beat Penn State,
Yes.
Oh, boy.
They
Well, we
would
know how that
remain-
movie ends.
they would remain 1 and 2, and Indiana would have to remain 3 because there was no one below them that won.
Wait a second.
And that's
Did
not
they
so
hate
sure.
the armed services anymore? We don't know that.
Yeah.
yet.
Right.
Let's just let
don't
things
have those
play
numbers
out.
yet.
Yeah, let it play out,
things
Mike.
Remember, Army still has a game to play, and they're
So-
number 4.
So I guess if Army were to beat Tulane, they could technically move up to 3 and be in.
Possibly. We're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet. I
We're
mean,
also assuming that like wins are wins.
Well,
you
Billy,
know what I
let-
mean?
let's
So
test-
like Oregon winning and Texas winning means what exactly? We'll find out
It's just
next
a
week.
number.
right.
Yeah,
It's just a
win.
number.
There's different ways of winning games.
Well, Billy, let's see if he's learned a lesson here, Mike. Who do you think is going to win the Tulane Army game, Mike?
yeah.
I think Army is going to win.
Well, now, hey, you just moved up a
Green
spot.
wave.
I mean, how about
Yeah.
that?
That's going to raise Notre Dame's rankings a little bit.
Yeah.
but not enough to get in.
Well, we'll see.
Time will tell.
We'll see.
TWT.
That was a big step.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, all I can say is wow, and
Yeah.
I really don't mean that in a good way.
Check him out on Gojo and Golic every day, 8 to 10 on the DraftKings Network and wherever you get your podcasts. He has the Chargers and Kansas City Chiefs this Sunday night. Mike, we put Notre Dame in there so you wouldn't be mad at us, so you wouldn't hate us. I mean, come on. So
You put Notre Dame in the 10 slot of a 3-team playoff.
I
where
just
they
moved
have
them to
no shot of getting
9.
up to
I
three.
just moved them up.
Penultimate.
Yes.
Penultimate.
Right. I mean, I just moved them up to 9. You said Army's going to win. Anyway, Mike, Alabama getting in, it appears, over Miami. Your thoughts on that? A 3-loss Alabama team, a 2-loss Miami team. The fans down here in Miami are upset about it. What do you think when the rankings came out?
Well, I mean, I thought that was going to be the biggest thing we looked at of how far would they drop Miami? And they drop Miami to where the committee can say they're in the top 12,
Yeah.
but they're really not in the top 12.
Right.
Because this same committee ranked Arizona State and Iowa State 15 and 16, knowing the winner has to be at least 12, which would knock Miami out. So effectively, the committee knocked Miami out. And so Miami was living on the edge, right? It was two losses now and hanging on by a thread in some other games. Now, Alabama's loss to Oklahoma was a bad loss, but this is where the SEC gets the benefit of the doubt. This is where the committee, they're human beings.
Right.
And they're going to say the SEC is deeper, the SEC feeds on one another, so they get the benefit of the doubt. But in actuality, Alabama could get knocked out as well. If Clemson were to beat SMU,
Yes.
and SMU did not fall out
Right.
of the playoffs, Clemson would have to be in. And if SMU stayed in, so that would knock a team out. And then the winner of Arizona State and Iowa State would knock a team out. So it's possible 12 Miami and 11 Alabama could be knocked out. And let me just say, as a card-carrying Notre Dame former player and alum, I hope that happens because the bracket right now shows Notre Dame hosting Alabama.
Oh, that's such a great game, though. I mean, you don't want any part of it.
Hey, if that happens, I hope there's 3 feet of snow on the field.
But Mike, just the fact that we can have that matchup could happen first round of the playoffs. That's a success for college football, the new playoff system. Yes.
Completely agree. And you're actually going to see the elements have a say in the first round because you'll have first round games in Notre Dame, potentially very cold and bad. In Penn State, potentially very cold and very bad. At Ohio State, probably potentially very cold and very bad. The other one, if Georgia loses, probably Georgia would host a home game. That obviously in Athens is not going to be as cold or as possibly snowy as the other 3.
Mike, who do you like in the Texas-Georgia game?
Georgia has not been impressive. Carson Beck has been playing better, but he was a turnover machine for a while. Their running game has not been consistent at all, and their defense is giving up points. So I think Texas will can score. When I say outscore, I mean they have the ability to put up in the 30s. On Georgia, and I don't know if Georgia has the ability to do that.
And how about Oregon, Penn State?
I just like Oregon. Oregon, it's going to be in a dome on turf.
Yes.
It's going to be, the way they like it. And what you said about Penn State, I think we kind of know how the story ends, right? They beat everybody else, but they get to that really good team and they falter. Though I completely agreed with James Franklin's presser when they scored that last touchdown against Maryland to go to win 45-7, of him saying, these are guys that are 3s and 4s. These are guys that are practice dummies during the week. Now, he didn't say that, but I'm saying that. Guys that are just show team guys during the week. They get a chance to play. You let them play football. You know what? If you don't like it, stop them. And Maryland still had their first team in there, so stop them. And he said, and he's right, the landscape of college football is different. It's how you win now. At least he admitted it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to admit, blow out a team, it looks better.
Right.
He is basically saying, blow out a team, it looks better.
No doubt about it.
And that's the truth.
Yep. Mike, what changes if you were in charge? Because I think we could all agree the 12-team playoff, the expansion of the playoffs, has been great for college football. But if you were to change anything, if you were in charge, what would you change?
Well, I think I would change the conference championship game because right now you have 2 teams that are outside the projected top 12 with the winner getting an automatic bid.
Crazy.
In Arizona State or Iowa State.
Right, yeah.
So I would disagree with that and almost think about making a conference championship game more an exhibition. But again, even in an exhibition, it's an extra game you're playing. If you're actually in the playoffs, like in Oregon and Penn State, why play an extra game if it isn't going to mean anything? But conference championship games bring in a lot of money, so they're not going away. You would just, what I would do is do away with the conference championship games, just do a conference champion by regular season and rank that way. Because again, you're letting a team in that isn't deserving, according to the committee, not deserving of the top 12. And they're going to beat a team that's also not in the top 12. And all of a sudden, they're going to be in the top 12 and have an automatic bid. So that just doesn't pass the smell test.
What would you make of a weekend, instead of conference championship weekend, a weekend of play-in games to the playoff? Like you would have Alabama play Miami this weekend. Winner gets into the playoff. How about that?
Ooh, that would be pretty good.
Yes, I like that, huh?
Kind of like how the NCAA basketball tournament where they call Tuesday and Wednesday the actual first round, but we know it's actually play-in games to get to the tournament. I think that would be a good idea.
All right. Mikey A. Billy, you know Mike Golic very, very well. I'm asking you to predict how he feels about flag planting with Ohio State and Michigan. So, Mikey A., I will start with you. What do you think Golic's response is going to be when I ask him, should Michigan have tried to plant the flag after beating Ohio State on their field?
Stop him on the field.
Okay.
That's a Mike Golic answer.
Yeah. Billy, what do you think?
You're muted.
You're muted. Attaboy.
I kind of feel like that's where he's going to say is they had a chance to stop him from planting that flag during the game.
You showed more fight after the game than you did during the game. Now, I know technically that's not true, but And plus, if you won the game, you won the game on their territory. Why do you got to plant a flag? Yeah. I mean, listen, the easiest thing to do is just ban flag planting, right? But what you have to do is you have to have a massive discipline if somebody tries to. But they'll just go to the next thing. What would the Michigan players do if they weren't allowed to plant a flag? They would go on and again, this has to be a grass field, not like Baker Mayfield planting a flag on an artificial turf field where it doesn't stick. Michigan players would go to the logo on the 50-yard line and they would scrape it with their shoes. And then it would still lead to a fight.
Mike, what do you do if the team tries to plant the American flag?
You let them.
They ban the flag planting, but then they go and they're like, you know what? I see a flag over there, Old Glory. They plant the American flag. We know what happens at Notre Dame if they plant the American flag. They go and they just push the people over. They stomp all over.
No,
but in the other
you
stadiums,
stop it, Billy.
Right.
You stop it.
So, Billy, let's hear him out because this might move Notre Dame up a spot in the BCS.
Yeah.
What do you do with the American flag?
If you plant the American flag, both teams get around and salute it.
Wow, you are
number
up to
eight,
number
maybe.
8. Look at you. Yeah. I mean, and it's Army-Navy next week. I mean, you have plenty of time to gain ground, Mike, okay?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Check him out on Gojo and Golic, 8 to 10 on the DraftKings Network. And he has Chargers Kansas City coming up this weekend as well. That's a great game. God bless football to you, Mike.
God bless football, Billy and Mikey A.
God bless football, Mike.
God bless football.
Who won the annual Thanksgiving Day game?
Oh, Jesus.
We didn't even get to have it.
Why not?
This is outrageous.
What?
Yeah.
Didn't get to have it. Why?
Family showed up
we
late.
didn't get to have it because, it was a monsoon here for most of the day. right?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So there was an issue there. Then the other part of it was, my family actually got their shit together, and we ate Thanksgiving dinner at, a normal time this year to where it kind of cleared out, and I was like, wow, I think we could go out and play. And then at that moment, my mom was literally like, no, the food's ready. We got to do this. Let's eat now. And then I was kind of eating and literally looking out the window man, we might still have some daylight to do this, but it all got too long and it just didn't happen. So sorry to disappoint those out there.
It's all right.
Yeah.
But
I'm understanding why Phil wanted to get away. Yeah, now I know why Phil didn't want to spend Thanksgiving with you guys. He just kind of knew excuses. Jeez.
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Well, if Phil was there,
would have cared either way. The big question was would have Phil sat on the couch with his right leg over his left one or the left one over the right one? That's about as far as that would have gotten.
Yeah, but it seems like you needed Phil because if Phil was there, there's no way no one's not playing football. I mean, Monsoon, he doesn't give a shit. Let's go play football, right?
Oh, no. Phil gives a shit. Phil's soft these days. This is Phil since 1986.
Don't you dare say that.
This ain't that.
Whoa.
This is not that. Phil doesn't go out if it's too sunny, if there's a little rain, if anything. It is so done. Those days are gone.
You should be nicer to your dad,
just lost that edge.
man.
Parcells isn't with him anymore.
Parcells isn't with him anymore.
Sad day.
I know. Bad day. Bad day, but good day. It's always good. Thanksgiving's awesome. All 2 out of the 3 games were pretty damn good. I enjoyed that, and it was all good. Good weekend. How about you guys? You guys had a good one?
Which was the bad game?
The Cowboys, the Giants. That was horrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I didn't mind looking at the Packers and Dolphins. It had a good look on TV. It wasn't as competitive maybe as we wanted it to be, but it wasn't the worst. So that's where I'll give that one enough entertainment there and a look that, okay, I was interested in it. The Cowboys-Giants, I could have cared less about.
Before we get to the NFL with you, how you feeling about the SEC championship game, Texas-Georgia?
Oh,
yeah.
I'm pumped. I mean, I can't wait. I have a Saturday off this week. All right, it's my first tomorrow and Saturday, the first 2 days I've had off really since the end of August. So I'm really pumped though to sit on the couch, enjoy college football, smoky, drinky. That game, gonna be big time. I think. Hey, the big thing here is Stugotz, and I know we talked about it a little. if we can run the ball like you saw us run last week against Texas A&M, we're going to be tough to beat.
Yes.
I don't care who it is or where it is, because we know we could throw the ball and we can throw the ball down the field. And that's a little bit why our offense has been sluggish towards the end of the year, is the fact that everyone's kind of called our bluff on the run game. And it's just like, hey, let's play the safeties deep. They don't really want to run it. They're not great at running it. Let's take away the big pass plays. And that's led to some underwhelming victories. But if we do what we did against A&M last Saturday night in that dominant game, and we can run the ball, and then we get a few shots down the field, yeah, we're going to be real tough to beat, because I do think us and Notre Dame have the two best defenses in college football.
So you have your first Saturday, and it's a great Saturday, championship weekend, just to sit around, get fucked up, and watch football, huh?
You know it, Dan. That's what I'll be doing. You explain that to a T. Exactly right. I concur, doctor.
Have you thought about the deli sandwich you'll be ordering that day? Have you thought about it yet?
Yeah, I don't know. It's deli sandwich. It could be, buffalo wings and fries and stuff like that. But we're going to be eating good that day for sure. And the wife is out of the house that day too. So it's literally like lounge around and just do whatever the hell I want. It's going to be a beautiful day. A beautiful day.
So the wife has more important things to do than hang out with her husband on his first Saturday off and watch championship weekend?
Yeah, her sister's having a baby, so they're having a baby shower or whatever.
That's no excuse.
Who has a baby?
You're off. Yeah.
I know. No, yeah. Apparently she doesn't. And yes, I was a little surprised too. And I was like, damn, you're going to go the first time I have a day off the whole freaking year. But, as you get older and the more years go by in a marriage, you continually just fall down the pecking order, right? You just follow this. You're an afterthought. As a husband after 20 years of marriage, you become like, I think I have a few minutes for you today. Yeah, sure. Right. And that's where we're at right now in my life.
She also knows Chris will be fine on his own. Like, he's fine. Championship Saturday.
Yeah. Chris will find ways to entertain himself. Don't worry.
Chris, would you be shocked, okay? Would you be shocked if the Chiefs were not playing in the AFC Championship game?
No. I would not be shocked.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I mean, again, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. I get that. I know we dove into this a little last week, right? And I stand by what I've said, is just that 40 years of football watching has shown me that they can't do this, except for those damn 4 games last year after they lost to the Raiders. So that's why you're always skeptical, right? With the Chiefs, because they're just they can do amazing things, but I do think this is not the same team, and I know we talked about this last week. Of course we worry about the offense. The defense is not in the same stratosphere as last year, guys, right? People have forgotten that L'Jarius Sneed, we were talking about him as Defensive Player of the Year last year. Let's not forget that.
Right.
So him not being there, they can't get after the quarterback. They don't force nearly as many negative plays. Last year they were second in football in sacks. This year, they're towards the bottom of football in sacks. They have to blitz and pressure to get pressure on a quarterback. I think this will be a tough game for them this week with the Chargers, right? The Chargers have got a really good defense, and with the way the Chiefs play on offense, they will present some opportunities for the Chargers to make some plays there. So I kind of took the thing that the magic of the Chiefs ends this week. I took the Chargers to upset them. We'll see where that goes. But no, I would not be shocked if the Chiefs were not in the AFC Championship game this year.
It's a weird way of me asking you, can you see the Chiefs losing to the Steelers in the second round of the playoffs?
I can.
Right.
I can.
Yes.
The Steelers and the Packers, to me, are the two teams in the league, one in each conference, that I would say, we're at the time of the year of you are who you are. Those are two teams where I'd say they're not all who they are yet.
Right.
They're still kind of going on an upward trajectory because of the quarterback situation on both teams. Jordan Love being hurt so much of the year, right? Didn't get to practice a bunch of weeks, all of that. Russell Wilson, his injury, and not playing until later in the year. So I don't think they're a complete finished look of a football team as of yet. And no, I would not be surprised if the Steelers beat the Chiefs. Of course, Buffalo beats the Chiefs. Baltimore beats the Chiefs.
Right, yeah.
We saw them win by a miracle. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost to the Denver Broncos or the Chargers in the playoffs in a close football game. I think anything is on the table with this Chiefs football team. I really do.
PFT with Mike Florio every day on Peacock, the Unbuttoned podcast as well. Football Night in America. They have the Chargers and the Chiefs coming up this weekend. Have you seen enough? I'm interested here in Carolina and what you would do, Chris, if you were running the team. Have you seen enough from Bryce Young where you're committed to him as your quarterback of the future, and would you build around him in the offseason?
I think I have seen enough, right? Now, again, I don't know what's behind the scenes. I haven't talked to anybody down there that's in the know. Carolina would be one of the few teams in football I'm probably the least connected to in football right now after the last few years and people moving in and out of there. So I got no inside inkling here. But from what I've seen on the field and watched on film, yeah, I think that I would. Again, just saying you were going to replace him, okay, replace him. Who's it going to be, right? Is it definitely going to be better? Does he? No, now we got to learn the Canales offense again with another guy. I would think part of the reason Canales wanted this job was that he felt like he can make it work with Bryce Young. And yeah, now it's time to get the right guys. To me, this should totally be like follow the Tua Miami Dolphins playbook if they want to go with Bryce Young. You got to get a certain group of players down there that fit him. And then the way the Dolphins play is really the way you should play with Bryce Young. That's what it should be. Point guard, boom, 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 get it out of my hands, slick throw, move around the pocket, great ball handling, all that, because the explosive arm talent and the throws down the field, that's never going to be there. Right. It's not like he's just going to wake up one day and we're going to go, whoa, he's got a laser beam from an arm now. That's not going to happen. So I would say they got the O-line figured out. Now this offseason, go out there, spend, draft, whatever you got to do, make moves to get super talent around Bryce Young.
Chris, what have you seen out of Anthony Richardson lately? Because it's been like a roller coaster ride for him this year where he gets benched. Sometimes he looks good. Sometimes he looks bad. If you look at his stats, sometimes it looks like, wow, that was a terrible game. But then you watch the game and you're like, they only won that game because of him. He kept them in that game. He made bad decisions, but sure enough, he wins them the game. So where are you on him and why is he so confusing, I guess?
Well, he hasn't, still to this point, hasn't played a lot of football, right? Didn't play a ton of college. Last year he got hurt and only played a handful of games. So this year is really his best learning experience in the NFL. You said it right. I mean, it's not pretty, but he is a talent, and he does do some eye-popping things, and he can change the dynamic of the team. And this is where I get into like, hey, he's a perfect example, and a lot of quarterbacks are right now, where you don't have to throw for 75% and be really efficient to win football right now. It's about explosive plays. It's about plays in general, and you're seeing that, and he is that. But it's just it's polish. That's the biggest thing, Billy. It's little nuanced stuff, and I don't want to say little because it's all very important for the quarterback position. But, yeah, whether it's when to throw a ball away, not to take a sack. Sure, all that stuff could be better. But the biggest thing is accuracy. And it's accuracy on the short to intermediate throws. Like you're talking about, when there's a guy open 60 yards downfield, I got more confidence that he'll hit that throw than he will on the 10-yard out route. That's the damn problem. The 10-yard out route, he might miss it by 10 yards. The 60-yard post route, he'll put it right in the guy's chin. I mean, he's great at that. But there is technique and certain things to throwing the ball shorter, and that's where he hasn't figured that out. He is all arm every throw. So the guy's right here, he's like throws it with his arm. The guy 60 yards downfield, he throws it with his arm. But when it's downfield, he's got to use his body a little bit because you can't get it 60 yards downfield without using your body. He's got to learn to use his body on the short to intermediate throws. His arm kind of works as a independent contractor, for lack of a better way to say it. And so he hasn't fused it all together, but I see signs of it happening, and I think he's been a different guy as of late. You heard me say a few weeks ago, I do know people in Indianapolis, he wasn't being professional behind the scenes. That's why they benched him, right? But when they lost a few games with Flacco, they went, okay, well, this is still the future. We still like this guy. He's not a bad guy. He's just got to mature and become a professional, and he's been playing with a little edge and finding a way to win games, and good for him, and he's a super talented guy. But, yeah, there's just some polish that needs to be done, Bill.
Chris, I want to ask you about the Trevor.
Bill. I'm going to call Bill now. I'm only going to call him
That
Bill.
threw me off.
I also like the idea of Richardson's arm being a hired gun.
I don't know why it came out of my mouth. It was one of those weird things.
I think it was a respect thing. I think you said, you know what? I respect this guy.
It was
lack of respect.
It was not that. Go ahead, Mikey.
Great. Now I get to get serious. I want to get your thoughts on the Trevor Lawrence hit, because the casual football fan, everybody was, oh my God, that guy needs to be thrown out of the league and go to jail and all that.
Ridiculous.
And then you see a lot of former players coming out, like Tom Brady's like, hey, that's kind of what happens when you become a runner. And I'm curious what your feelings are on that hit.
Yeah, it's a good subject. It really is. I heard what Brady said, and I don't think he's totally wrong with, like, maybe fine. Like, listen, some of these quarterbacks and what they're doing and sliding late is making it almost impossible on defenders sometimes. And I feel for defenders. I'm pro defense. Anybody will tell you that who watches a game with me, because the rules are so skewed for the offense, it's hard to root for them sometimes. Now, what I will say with Brady and what he's saying is, man, does he seem like the guy up in the ivory tower there? I don't know if anybody benefited for later slides in life than Tom Brady. We played some on PFT yesterday. I mean, he's the latest slider we've ever seen in football. And then get up and complain that he got touched as he, chop kicked some guy in the nuts as he's sliding too, right? He'd be like, hey, he hit me. His nuts hit my foot. I want a penalty. And it's like, no, you slid literally where the guy had nothing to do, right? But so it is tough. Some of these quarterbacks are taking advantage, I think, too, of the fact that we've talked about it, getting towards the sidelines, they pull up and then they turn it back on and get defenders to pull up and they get a few extra yards. Or, again, some of these quarterbacks are huge specimen type of guys. So you got to get ready to hit them a little bit. And we see every now and then, especially like a Josh Allen, he'll run you over. But here's where this one was wrong. One, you always know a quarterback's about to slide for the most part. And I'm not saying it's easy. I get all that. And a guy like Azeez El-Shaair has seen hundreds of quarterback slides with as much football as he's played over the last few years. So you know what that looks like when it's about to happen, right? Trevor Lawrence was a slide a little late, no doubt about it. But the problem is Shaair showed no give a fucks about trying to pull up. In fact, he said, I'm going to double down and step on the gas pedal more. I'm not going to hit on the brake, and I'm going to launch at your head and throw a forearm with my arm that's got a big brace on it too. And I think that's where it's wrong, let alone he's got some history. And then he gets suspended 3 games. Why? Well, history, the egregiousness of the hit on the quarterback, and then the NFL is going to make an example of you. Listen, when you make that hit and then the Jaguars reacted the way they did, which any team would do that, right? That's the moment where you're going to be like, oh, my bad, and you get hit around a little bit, and I messed up, I'm sorry, as they're hitting you around. He doubled down and went, F you, I'm going to beat your ass and take on the whole sideline and rip your head off. And the NFL is going to make an example of him for that, because they're not into, we want big fights on the field in the middle of a football game. So those are my thoughts there. I don't know if there's anything more you want to pick at there.
Save those big fights for college, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, nobody, nobody wants to see that, but we know the NFL does not want to see melee on the sidelines that stops the game for 5 minutes, and then, we resume, and another melee breaks out down in the end zone because now he's decided to try to fight a few other people. And that's where the NFL, I think, was like, wait, repeat offender, egregious hit, and you, instead of being like sorry about it, you said, fuck you, I'm going to try to fight everybody in the Jaguars. And I think that's where they came down hard on Azeez El-Shaair.
Chris, is it time for the Falcons to go with Michael Penix?
No, I don't think that does any good for anybody as of right now. One, they're still in this. They can win the NFC South, right? So that's my first thing. Second off, I don't even think that's a good thing for Michael Penix and what he's at. What, put him in with a team that's struggling a little bit, and then, he doesn't play well, and then we go into the offseason, I'm like, whoa, shit, I mean, Michael Penix didn't even look that good. Did we make the right draft pick? It's just unfair to put him in that position, I think, this late in the year on top of all that. So, no, ride it with Kirk Cousins. He's shown he can fight out of these type of slumps. He played bad last week. There's no doubt about that. And I know the big stat out there is 6 interceptions over the last 3 games, but 4 of them were last week. So I think that's a little bit blown out of proportion as far as the mistakes he's making.
I am fascinated by what's going on in Minnesota. A, that no one takes them seriously as a contender in the NFC. And B, I just don't know what they're going to do with Sam Darnold. He's been so good. He's winning late in games. He's the reason they are winning football games. And I was wondering, like, is J.J. McCarthy going to ever take a snap for the Vikings? Like, what do the Vikings do here with Darnold?
I think that it's going to take a lot to keep Darnold. And I think that's where the Daniel Jones thing comes into play.
Man.
Right, where we'll go with J.J. McCarthy and Daniel Jones will be the backup for that next year.
Right.
But that I look at it, and I think Sam Darnold, the play's been good. Like you said, I don't think it's been great. There's been a few moments of great, but there's also been some moments of like, man, what the hell are you doing there? Oh, you threw that interception, and it's still a game. You should be dominating them, right? So I don't think it's good enough to where they're just going to say, oh, yeah, he's the guy for next year, just getting in the playoffs. I think it'll take an NFC championship, Super Bowl type appearance and high-quality play for him to stay there. They invested. They traded to move up to get McCarthy.
Right.
There's obviously something there they like about the future. So, yeah, I don't see that happening unless something extraordinary happens. And you're right, Stugotz. 10-2, they're the least talked about 10-2 team in the history of football.
It's crazy.
But yeah, that's the problem is they're 10-2, and I think most people feel the way I do. They're probably I feel like they're the third best team in their division, right? And probably the fourth best team in the NFC in general, and I think that's why they don't get quite the respect they would want.
So if they get to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, then what do you do with J.J. McCarthy? Because you have to re-sign. You have to re-sign Darnold. I mean,
that is going to be the big question, right?
Crazy.
And what do you do with J.J. McCarthy? I don't know. Do you keep him as a backup and then start to go, hey, we'll let him sit here, and maybe Sam Darnold won't capitalize on everything, or maybe he's only our starter for 2 more years after this. I don't know. There's a lot of options that are on the table. But you get to the NFC Championship game and do all of that. You know, they might also get a team that goes. You know, there might be a team out there that goes, hey, damn, we'll pay Sam Darnold big money, and Minnesota might look at it and go, we're not willing to go that way. Right. There's a lot of ways this can go, but it will be interesting, that's for sure.
That team will be the Jets, I'm sure. Has Bo Nix, I can't believe I'm asking you this question. Mikey A is saying no. I can see the Jets doing that, though, and then Sam goes back to being Sam.
He won't go back. It's not the Jets that aren't going to come call.
You're saying regardless.
You're right. He's scarred. He's like, I had enough of that crap. I ain't going there.
But you agree with me, the Jets will try, right? Okay.
Of course, that's totally Jets.
And he'll say no. I can't believe I'm asking Chris this question, considering how the first 3 or 4 weeks of the NFL season went. But has Bo Nix been better than Jaden Daniels?
In totality, I'm going to say no, not as of yet.
He's been good, Chris. Yeah.
It's been really good. He certainly has closed the gap significantly. And where I would agree with you on that comment is probably over the last 5 weeks, he's played better than Jaden Daniels.
Yes.
That's where I think is where you're going. And I think I agree with that. He's been damn good.
Yeah.
And it's not perfect. We know. We saw that the other night. He got unlucky with one interception. He had one other that was clearly his fault. But damn, I mean, you see the explosiveness in his arm and what he does there. You see the athlete. And they're a team that their offense didn't necessarily match up great with Cleveland's defense because they don't have big-time speed at receiver or weapons, and Cleveland's got some guys that can cover and do all of that. But, he's definitely – like him, Jaden Daniels, Brock Bowers, they all deserve equal talk as far as Rookie of the Year conversation.
I think Sean Payton deserves talk in terms of Coach of the Year conversation. Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
I mean, watch out for the Broncos. Watch out. Like, I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs, and certainly – what I'm even more is going, watch out them from next year and from now on.
Right.
They've turned the corner. They got the quarterback. They got the O-line. They got the secondary. They got some pass rushers. Now it's like we got to get a receiver. We maybe get a big-time running back. We get another big-time D tackle. And then it's like, watch out. We're one of the best teams in football. Watch out. He has made that organization totally different, Sean Payton.
That's one of those rare instances, Chris, where it worked out well for both parties, right? It worked out well for the Broncos. It worked out well for Russ.
That's right.
What do the Steelers do with Russ now? Because he's great at $1 million a year, And he seems to be a good fit for that team, but is he a good fit at $30 million a year for that team?
Well, yeah, I 30's pretty end of the, bottom
of the barrel right now, which
right?
is crazy.
I know it is crazy, right? It's I mean, literally 7 years ago, no quarterback in football was making $30 million. Now shitty ones are making $30 million. So that's what's amazing. But yeah, wait, who are you asking me about there?
Russell Wilson.
Oh yeah. Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, though, with that, I think if it continues the way it is, they're going to pay him something like that, and I don't think he is going to hold them over a fire for every last dollar, right? There's not going to be a huge market for him out there. He fits perfectly with Pittsburgh. It's got a lot of vibes of Seattle Russell Wilson in the style of play. I know we've talked about that. And did you guys watch Hard Knocks this week with the AFC North?
No.
Well, watch it first off. It's very good. But Mike Tomlin loves Russell Wilson. Like, there's no hiding that. He loves him.
Right.
Like, they're on the field together, like, pointing at each other all the time. Like, no, you're the man. You're the man. No, you're the man. He kissing them when he walks in the locker room. I've never seen Mike Tomlin act like that with a quarterback.
Interesting.
So he feels like he's got a guy. Russell, as the more I think about it, we talked about how awesome he fits with the team schematically and that style of play, because it's like Seattle in the heyday. But also, with the Steelers, they got all these personalities and kind of renegades that Tomlin keeps in check. He's probably happy to have a choir boy at quarterback that's just like, go Russ, go Steelers, go Broncos. He loves that, I bet. So that's where it fits too.
How does Tomlin treat Justin Fields on that show?
He's okay with him. I mean, listen,
right.
Tomlin's got a magic way about him.
He's great.
He's the greatest communicator I was ever around.
Yeah.
He's the greatest motivator I was ever around. He's special that way. Tomlin can make it and be the most real motherfucker you've ever seen and say stuff to you that's hard and cuts to the deep of your soul, but you still look at him and go, he cares about me. He says it in a way that you go, he cares about me. That wasn't degrading. He just kind of talked to me like a man and was like, hey, man up, stop being stupid or blah, blah, blah. And you're like, damn, I feel better. He's magical that way, and that's why they never freaking lose there in Pittsburgh because of him.
That's an underrated gift, the ability to criticize a player and have the player know that you actually care about him.
Exactly right.
Yes.
It is. It's a gift that really only the good ones have, in my opinion,
Agreed.
where they can mother F you and say all these things and whatever else, but you still go, he loves me, and he says enough positive things about me when I do good things that I know, he does like me. And that's his magic touch. Let alone, wait till you see him in some of the meetings, and of course his football acumen and just all the things he sees and feels and runs the meetings the way he does. He's special coach, man.
All right, I'm trying to make a point about the NFL MVP here, Chris, so just stay with me for a second. If the Eagles had to choose one of these guys to eliminate from their team, which one would they choose? Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, or A.J. Brown?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's Barkley.
Well, gosh. I want to say Jalen Hurts. That's what I want to say.
They would get rid of Jalen?
Well, you're just saying if they had to get rid of one, you're making me choose one, right?
One of those three guys, yes. Who's your quarterback? You get rid of Jalen Hurts. You get rid of Saquon.
I don't know. Saquon to me is so special.
Right.
And with that O-line and what they are, it ain't going anywhere. Like, he ain't going to fall off a cliff. He's going to be the best running back in football next year, too.
Right.
So that's where
I'm just saying,
A.J. Brown.
Chris, this is my only point.
Yeah.
They made a Super Bowl with Miles Sanders without Saquon Barkley.
I hear you.
Right.
I hear you.
That's it.
I hear you.
Right.
I know what you're saying.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think this makes them a more dangerous football team there. It's almost an impossible question to answer is what you're asking me here.
I know it is.
I am also a guy like, I mean, for years I've been trying to say Saquon Barkley's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's just not on a team that can show that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Right.
A.J. Brown is going to the Hall of Fame too.
Yep.
We know receivers in the inflated wide receiver stat era, they're not as many years going as we think. A.J. Brown will be one of the short list ones that do.
Yep.
I mean, he's definitely one of the three best receivers in football. And in fact, this year, I would say maybe number 2, only behind Jamar Chase. That's the pecking order. I really like Jalen Hurts. I know people think I'm a hater. And I was more of a hater in just the fact that everybody was trying to tell me he was the best quarterback in football 2 years ago when they were going to the Super Bowl. I was still trying to say, hey, he's good. He's just not as good as what you're saying. I think he's gotten better, right? But you're not going to watch the Eagles and go, wow, this is high-level quarterback play. You're going to go, wow, this is a good leader. He's tough, and he makes some big plays and some big moments. And I just talked about plays are the name of the game. So it doesn't always look surgical. Wow, this looks like a high-flying offense. But he's going to make big plays at a big moment. But, man, yeah, I guess I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts, but it's not an easy question. You're killing me there, and I'm probably going to get made fun of on social media because of it.
Well, I'll answer it for you. It's Saquon Barkley. PFT with Mike Florio every day on Peacock, the Unbuttoned Podcast, Football Night in America. Last question for you. Joe Burrow said he needs to do more. Chris, I don't think he can.
I know. Well, that's what an awesome player says, right?
Yes.
Awesome players always think they can do more. It doesn't matter. That's just the way they're wired. That's why they're awesome.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm sure he believes that.
Do you think you think he has thought to himself at all, I need to get out of here? Like they're going to waste my career. They're going to waste it here.
I don't know if we've gone there yet, but I certainly think for this year he's thinking that. Like, man, they fucked up this year.
Yes.
We had a chance. If we had a few more players to the areas we knew we weren't strong at, we would have won some of those close games, and we would have been a headache. The offense is unreal, right?
Incredible.
I mean, those three are unreal.
Yes.
When you talk about Burrow, Higgins, and Jamar Chase, it's incredible.
Yes.
And the fact that, what is it? How many games have they had over 30 points, and they've only won like one of them?
All of them.
I mean, they're yeah, is it all of them? It's incredible.
It is.
But yeah, as we've talked about, he's played as good as anybody in football. And if they just had a little bit better record, he'd be in the MVP conversation. He's not there. But yeah, I don't think he can do a whole lot more. He's carried them on his back.
I think they have 4 losses when they score 30 points, which is absurd.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's what it was. It's crazy. It's insane. And the defense is so bad. They need players. Certainly, they're not talented enough in the secondary. They need more defensive linemen. There's all of that. And it's gotten bad enough to where I wonder who I like Lou Anarumo a lot as the D coordinator of the Cincinnati Bengals, but I wonder if it's gotten bad enough to where it's just like both sides are like, hey, we need to change. We both need a new change of scenery here. We'll see where that goes.
Organizations would kill for this quarterback just one time, just once to get a quarterback like Joe Burrow. The Jets would kill to have Joe Burrow. When you get him, spend some fucking money. How's that sound? I mean.
No, I know. And that's where the Bengals have not been willing to be aggressive or spend the money. And I tried to say all offseason, like, now is the time. Strike while the iron's hot.
Yes.
I don't know. Take a loan out of the bank, whatever. You're going to make money. It's the NFL. Every owner makes money.
Yep.
But yeah, they dropped the ball in the fact of contract negotiations gave them distractions early in the year with Higgins and Jamar Chase. Right? They needed to sign more depth or get some guys or make a trade in the D-line position. They didn't do that. They probably needed to do that in the secondary as well. And because of that, and they didn't address any of that, they're sitting here at what are they, 3-8 or 4-8? And it's over.
Yep, it's over. PFT with Mike Florio, the Unbuttoned Podcast, Football Night in America, Chargers and Chiefs coming up this Sunday night. He's got a couple of days off. Smoky, drinky. No wifey. Enjoy it, Chris Sims.
I will.
It is time for this week's edition of Stugotz, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Stay tuned, because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. College football championship week. It's a big weekend, the best weekend, the greatest weekend of all time. 7-2 a week ago. That was a pretty good weekend. 72-64-2 on the season. Here we go. We start with the Mountain West Championship. Boise's taking on UNLV. Boise is -4. I'm taking Boise here. They win. They cover Boise State by 14 points. The American Athletic Championship. Tulane taking on Army. I should take Army. I'm not going to take Army. Golic needs to take Army. If he does, they'll move up a spot. Notre Dame will in the BCS. I'm taking Tulane. Tulane -5. They win. They cover Tulane by 13 points over Army. Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship. Arizona State taking on Iowa State. Colorado should be in this game. They're not. I'm upset about it. Arizona State -2 taking on Iowa State. I'm taking Arizona State here. They advance on to the playoffs. Arizona State wins. They cover. Arizona State by 10 points. SEC championship. Big game. Georgia +3 taking on Texas. Buy it up to 3.5. Take Georgia. They win the game outright. Georgia by 3 points over Texas. Big Ten championship game. Oregon -3.5. They're taking on Penn State. I am taking Oregon here. They will lose. It just won't be this weekend. Oregon -3.5 over Penn State. Buy it down to 3. Oregon wins and covers. Oregon by a touchdown. ACC championship game. SMU -2 taking on Clemson. I'm taking SMU. They're good. They've been good all year. SMU wins and they cover. They beat Clemson by 10 points and keep Dabo Swinney, thankfully, out of the playoffs. NFL, Week 14, 3-4 a week ago. My first losing week in a long, long time. I am 56, 36, and 2 on the season. I'm on fire. Let's get to the games. Dolphins -6 taking on the Jets. Jets are lousy. Dolphins think they're still playing for something. Whenever I have a lousy team taking on a team that thinks they're still playing for something, I take the team that thinks they're still playing for something. The Dolphins do. Dolphins -6 over the Jets. They win by 14 points at home. Arizona -2.5 taking on Seattle. Arizona wins. They cover. The Cardinals by 10 points over the Seahawks. Bills -4 at the Rams. Bills might be the best team in the NFL. They certainly have the MVP. The Bills win and they cover. The Bills by 10 points on the road. Chargers +4 at the Chiefs. The Chiefs, every game has been close. I'm taking the Chargers here +4, but the Chiefs win the game by a point because that's what they do. They win games by a point, and they move on, and they win the next game by a point. So I am taking the Chargers here +4. The Chiefs win by 1 point at home. Bucks -6.5. They're taking on the Raiders. Buy it down to 6. Take the Bucks. The Bucks win by 14 points over the Raiders. Steelers -6.5. They're taking on the Browns. Buy it down to 6 points. Russell Wilson has played his way back into Canton, back into the Hall of Fame. In fact, Russell Wilson might be playing himself back into a first ballot Hall of Famer. We'll find out more this weekend. If he covers, he's a first ballot guy. Steelers -6 over the Browns. I'm taking the Steelers. They win, they cover. Steelers by 13 points at home. And finally, I can't believe I'm doing this. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this. Carolina +12.5. They're taking on the Eagles. Buy it up to 13. I have no idea why, because Carolina is going to win the game outright. How about that? I don't care if they win the game outright as long as they cover. The Eagles will lose the game. Carolina will win the game. Carolina wins by 4 points, and yet I told you to buy it up to 13. That's bad advice. But you know what? 56, 36, and 2 on the season. Those are the picks, everyone. Good luck.